It was nip and tuck. I mean, there were literally many, many times when my mom thought, we're done. We can't do this any longer. You're just going to have to go work for the city or something and, get us back on our feet. And some little small thing would happen. One time, my dad won $500 on a baseball raffle ticket. And that $500, they still say, if they didn't have that $500, they would have probably had to have shut it down. That's how tight things were in those days. I grew up in veterinary medicine. My grandpa was a veterinarian, my dad was a veterinarian. He was large animal in Madison, Indiana, the whole time I was growing up. And I mean, these were early days, but I used to beg from the time I was in kindergarten to go on the calls. And I mean, literally, I begged every day, take me on the calls, take me on the calls. And I actually started working in a couple of the sale barns in like the 4th and 5th grade, livestock sale barns. And I was in 4-H, and just the whole time growing up, I played a lot of sports, but I had a lot of animals, and I never wanted to be anything except a veterinarian. Yeah, he came to Cincinnati, and we figured it out in 1967. I was just starting the 7th grade, yeah, those were, I consider those first 10 years as the root of what became Noah's Ark Animal Clinic. Real hard times, there was, my parents, I was one of the oldest of 7 children, and my dad had been in a bad auto accident shortly after I was born, so went through financial, can't say hard times, almost despair. And so the move to Cincinnati, he actually had a decent kind of a large animal practice, but because of his accident, he had done a lot of lung damage, and it was a big hog practice, and the hog dust, he couldn't deal with it, and the economy was poor in Madison, and again, a whole batch of kids, and the school district wasn't that great. He made the decision to come to Cincinnati, do small animal, improve the school system for all of us kids, and be able to put him in a position where he could practice without all the health hazards of the dust. When we were looking at, my dad was looking at a location, and that's such an interesting story, he wanted to be on Colerain Avenue. He had it worked out. The old airstrip that was out where Northgate Mall is right now had their own little terminal, which was a one little building, block building, very small, and that was for sale. He could have bought it, but he didn't want to be out there because it was too far out in the country. Too far out in the country. So he picked this location down here because he just felt like small animal people weren't going to drive all the way out there to see a vet. Originally, our first clinic was down the street a little bit, 6645 Colerain, one of those little ranch things across the street from Burger King. And we used to be called Colerain Animal Clinic. Now, we opened another facility in Fort Wright, Kentucky. That was our second location in 1989. And we started doing some more marketing. We did some TV back in those days, and it was just real obvious we needed to consolidate to one name. We had no idea we'd eventually end up with 6 locations, but it was really my idea to switch the name over to Noah's Ark Animal Clinic, and it just standardized so many things for us that we really needed to do being around the city.
I grew up in the practices. In fact, when we were across the street in the little accounting building, I remember running around there, and I remember the day we got our 3rd exam room, and I thought to myself, wow, I was probably 4 or 5. This is an amazing accomplishment.
When I got out of vet school, there was a thing called the Little Report that actually said by the year 2000, veterinary medicine, small animal medicine was going to be a terrible profession because there were going to be so many more vets and the economy was just not going to be there to support it. Well, what they didn't factor in is that, in the old days, people just didn't really take care of pets, the very bare basics, and that was it. And now they're just elevated so high that the dollars spent that a client is willing, not only willing, but they demand that we elevate our level of medicine, level of surgery, all the services that we offer. They're demanding it.
This is our reference lab, and I think it's one of the things that makes us unique is we're the only veterinary practice in Cincinnati that has a centralized reference lab at this quality. And this is something that I think really speaks to the vision of my dad and my grandpa. Back in the day, everybody just shipped out their diagnostics to a local reference lab, and we really wanted to own that. And so we started investing in developing this lab in the late 90s. Angela Backer, who's our lab manager, really helped us build this out. And over the last 30 years, we have gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. And now we're really able to do university level diagnostics for our clients way more affordably, way faster. And everybody that sees this now looks and says, my goodness, how did y'all ever build this? And it was just, you know, baby step, baby step, baby step, baby step into really what's like regionally, like there's nothing in Ohio, there's nothing in Kentucky, in vet world that looks like this.
And when I look at how our clinic has evolved, like my dad was a real good, kind of a visionary person and took us so far. I was more of the workhorse. I was more of, I could implement all the ideas and do the follow through. And at some point then it needed, like I was also a real high producing veterinarian while I was managing the clinic. Well, it got so big, and I even near the end, last few years that I was practicing, I thought this practice would be better if I didn't see any clients and I just spent more time on management.
As third gen in the business, I feel like my job is to just hold on to the original vision and then grow that legacy that my dad built for comprehensive care. So very much feel like a lot of pride and joy in that, and also a lot of responsibility to say like, hey, we need to stay who we were in 1966, 1967, like, but now it just looks different across 5 or 6 practices and all that stuff. But I feel like my job is expand the legacy of this company and what we do in the community.
We always lived in the neighborhood. Again, we didn't have money, so we were in rental houses. We moved multiple times, but I went to White Oak Middle School and Colerain High School. All my brothers and sisters went to Colerain High School, and all my kids went to Colerain High School. It's like the joke about the West Side. You don't, you don't move away.
I actually love this community. Like when my wife and I were moving back from Colorado, we looked at a bunch of houses all over Cincinnati. And I would go and I'd look at a nice house in another part of town, and I just think to myself, I just don't care about this part of town. I love Colerain. I'm Colerain Cardinals, you know, till I die. So I think that might be the biggest thing, is just how much we love this community. We love all of the great parts of Colerain. We love all of the challenging parts of Colerain. But this is where we want to be, and this is where we want to be for decades to come. And I think that's probably the biggest thing. Like, we love Colerain. This is who we are. So.